Good evening, citizens and commissioners. My name is Scott McKellar. I'm the county attorney. As required by this board's procedures manual, the first regular meeting of every prior to that meeting being convened, the board must conduct its organizational meeting. So I am calling to order the annual organizational meeting of the Northampton County Board of Commissioners. The first order of business is the election of the chair to the Board of Commissioners for the next calendar year. At this time, I will entertain a motion for chair of the Northampton County Board of Commissioners.
I'd like to make a motion that we nominate, Yeah. I'd like to make sure that we nominate Ed Martin for chair.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition?
I, Melvetta Broadnax Taylor.
Okay. Motion carries. We'll vote 4-1. Second order of business will be the election of vice chair of the Northampton County Board of Commissioners for the following calendar year. Is there a motion to this effect?
I'd like to make a motion to re-elect Commissioner Kevin Edwards for vice chair of this board.
Motion for Dr. Kelvin Edwards. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Whitaker. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate so by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Being none, the motion carries. Congratulations, Chairman Martin and Vice Chair Edwards. At this time, I'll turn the meeting over to Chair Martin.
All right, thank you. The next item is to approve our schedule for the upcoming year meetings and holidays. We have 2 alternates. One is to meet twice a month as we are currently doing. The other is to meet once a month with the second meeting as an optional meeting if necessary. I know some people have expressed a desire to maybe go back to that format because we've had a lot of special call meetings, and maybe we could just do that on the second meeting as needed and call those to be held. So you've got the 2 options there. The holiday schedule is the same either way, but we have 2. Can you find that yet?
I see now.
We have 2 options to look at. Should be, okay.
So Chairman Martin, if I'm correct, the 2 meetings, that's option 1, am I correct?
Yes, we can call that option 1.
Okay, and 1 meeting a month is option 2.
Yeah, we'll call that option 2.
Okay.
But like I say, I know we've had some months where we had 3 or 4 meetings, and that gets difficult to try to schedule. So some have expressed that opinion. What if we went back to the 1 meeting and used the second one as an optional when necessary? We have a motion for either one of these options or some discussion for opinions.
Chairman Martin, I'd like to make a motion for option 1. It is just my opinion that with everything we got going on in this county, that we need 2 meetings a month. I've always made it known that I feel like the citizens of this county need 2 meetings a month because we have a lot of things going on. And it's just my feeling that we need 2 meetings a month so they have time to come in and vocalize their concerns with our safety issues going on and different issues going on. I think it serves us best to have 2 issues, 2 meetings per month. That's just my opinion. And I make a motion that we go with option 1 and we have 2 meetings per month.
Okay, do we have a second for that motion?
Second.
Okay, do we have discussion?
I'm all in agreement as far as just having meetings that are going to be productive or whatever the case is. And I know almost a year to the day, we voted to go in the direction of having 2 meetings per month. And what I've noticed as I've, been serving on the board since that time, we'll have some meetings where we'll have a pretty good turnout, and then there's some meetings where we have very little turnout, and there were quite a few. I definitely don't, negate that we don't have major issues in addition, in the county that we need to discuss. And I do feel that we do have a lot of additional meetings, and it's a lot on your schedule at times. I mean, I definitely understand us signing up for the 2 meetings a month. It's just that when we have sometimes the 2 meetings per month, we're still having these additional meetings. And it's just, sometimes I don't know how productive it is when we have the 2 meetings and then we're still having to have additional meetings on top of that. So again, I'm all for it either way. It's just that if we're going to have the 2 meetings a month, it would be more efficient and more productive if we could get the items that we need to talk about and to discuss on those 2 meetings instead of having those 2 meetings and then you're still having all of these special call meetings. That's the only thing that I would like to echo, whatever the case is. What option 2, that was one that I particularly like because it still gives us the flexibility to have an additional meeting if needed. When we have urgent matters or things that we need to discuss, all for it. But even with us having the 2 meetings per month, I'm not sure how productive 2 meetings per month is when, like I said, when sometimes it's very little turnout and sometimes it's not a whole lot on the agenda, and then we're still having to have extra meetings on top of that. So that's just my thoughts on that.
Any other discussion?
And so, Mr. Chairman, just for clarity for me, so when we look at option 2, and when you say, so it's not striking it out completely,
Right.
it would be,
It would be hit,
well,
because that was printed
I'm clear.
in black and white, it looks like it's struck out. That would still be set aside as a predetermined alternate date if needed. We just wouldn't automatically do it. We could notice ahead of time that we are going to have something for that night, and it will be, activated, so to speak.
Sure.
So my thoughts are, I agree, it's a lot going on, we're all busy. But how do we approach the fact that, we don't comment on the first meeting and then we comment on the second meeting? Are we gonna have to make a
Yeah,
commitment on the first?
yes, if you do that, you would have to take action that night, which that's the one downside to that is you don't have that additional couple of weeks to think about that item. As it is now on the first meeting, unless it's something that has to be acted upon, we don't act upon it until the next meeting, so.
And that's always been an asset because we get to talk to people in our community to see their opinion, and that's me. I'm a talker, and I ask questions, and I really like the fact that I can go to people in my community, and people call me from everywhere, but at least I get their opinions, and then I can make a better decision than I can in one night.
I hear what Dr. Commissioner Whitaker and my other colleagues are saying about time and all of that, but I think maybe we as a board need to come together. Maybe we need to come together as a board and talk about ways or strategies. We can bring more interest to these meetings. I don't know if that means I got to get up and do a dance, or I got to get up and go to singing. I don't know what that means. But I think maybe I don't know if it means us changing the format, but whatever it takes for us to bring the citizens to us or whatever, maybe we need to look at the way we are strategizing our meetings or do what we need to do. Maybe we need to put in some new things on our agenda because we do the same thing over and over again. So maybe we need to look at the way we present information. Maybe we need to look at some new things look at some other things that other counties are doing and insert some new things on our agenda to make it welcoming so people will want to flood our meetings. So there's a lot of ideas, and I'm like Commissioner Edwards. You know, collaboration and sharing information is wonderful, but we could go in so many different ways.
I think one thing we do need to do is make sure all departments and so forth that need something presented,
Absolutely.
look at the schedule and try to adhere to that as much. I know sometimes there are things that come up that are time-related and they can't help. They get something in, and it's got to be decided by a certain date, and you have to call an emergency meeting, but try to make sure we get our things organized better to fall into the 2 meetings and not have to do special call meetings unless they truly are an emergency. Because I know, was it just a month or 2 ago, I think we met 4 weeks in a row. And, you know,
Yeah,
five weeks,
it ended up being
you know, and not that I'm opposed to meeting, but it's hard to fit all that into everybody's schedule too. Because we all do have, you know, other jobs and other commitments also, but
Yeah, and to that point, I would agree that we definitely need to look at some additional strategy. I know we talked about going to the different townships. That is something that I would definitely like for us to take a look at next year, because again, if the citizens aren't always able to come to us, we need to make ourselves available to come to them, maybe have more roundtable discussions. I'm not sure, but definitely I think with a combination of everything that we just talked about, with, you know, still keeping the 2 meetings, if that's the pleasure of the board, but looking at some, you know, innovative ways and also some additional ways we can actually get out to the citizens. As we talk to some of the seniors, some of them don't drive at night, and with the time change, that impacts the attendance and that sort of thing. So, you know, definitely, I think if we keep the 2 meetings, and then maybe we strategize and see how we can get to each of our districts at least, you know, once throughout the year to, you know, to have dialogue with the citizens, so that's productive.
Well said.
Good idea.
Great.
any other comments? If not, we'll put the motion to go with option 1 to a vote with the understanding that we will try to keep it to the 2 meetings and not have any extra meetings unless absolutely necessary. All right, well, all in favor of option 1 signify by saying aye.
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 I brought next Taylor.
Okay, motion is carried. Option 1 schedule is approved. So now we will go into our regular County Commissioners Board meeting. And we will pause for a moment of silence. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the next item is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, in looking at our agenda, the holiday community engagement is under the consent agenda, and we need to remove that because I know we had some additional discussion. Is that right? Dr. Whitaker? And so with that additional discussion, move the holiday community engagement proposal right after the, citizens' comments, or right before the citizens' comments?
Right after.
Okay, yes, Mr. Chairman, right after the citizen comments.
Okay. Do we have a second to approve the amended agenda?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I brought next Taylor.
Okay, motion is carried. We'll amend the agenda. Next is conflict of interest statements.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in accordance with the rules of procedures adopted by this board in Section 153A-44 of the North Carolina General Statutes, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a conflict of interest with respect to any agenda item coming before the board today? If so, identify the conflict and the board will consider the matter. No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict.
No conflict. Broadnax Taylor.
No conflict. All right, the next item is citizen comments.
Citizens, if you've signed up, when you're recognized, please approach the podium when you're called. Your comments will be limited to 5 minutes maximum. The chair will cut off all speakers exceeding their allotted time. If you have any questions of the board, you'll receive a response from the Board of County staff. The board will not respond or otherwise engage in a dialogue with you during your allotted time. And pursuant to North Carolina law, this time is allotted on the agenda for public commentary on county business. This is not an open forum to be publicly critical of the performance of any county commissioner or county employee, and the chair will maintain the order and decorum of the meeting. Commissioners, I have 3 citizens who've signed up. First, Ms. Lily Purnell.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, County Manager, and citizens.
Good evening.
I bring you greetings from the Northampton Memorial Library, which is right here in Jackson, North Carolina. I come this afternoon to, first of all, we just come off of Thanksgiving, to say thank you for your support this calendar year. We have some upcoming events that I would like to invite you all to, citizens and commissioners. On December the 6th, this coming Saturday, we are going to be having a book signing by Miss Candace Lewis. Her book is entitled A Bloom Within, A Mental Health Journey. We always try to keep mental health at the forefront in our community. On December the 10th at 11 o'clock a.m., we're having a Veterans Comedy Central Luncheon with a comedian by the name of Mitch Capel out of Southern Pines, North Carolina. Stage name is Granddaddy Junebug. So every day is Veterans Day. Our veterans should be recognized not just November of each year, but all the time. So we're having a Comedy Central luncheon where our veterans can sit back and they can laugh, have some good laughter, and enjoy a nice lunch. On the 13th, the library will be involved with the Jackson Christmas Parade here. And on the 18th at 5 o'clock, we're going to be having another pajama party. And it is towards the night before Christmas pajama party, which we'll be showing that movie. And we will have some dinner like pizza and popcorn, you know, some holiday cookies for our youth. And for our adults too that come. Commissioner Broadnax Taylor, thank you. She came last year with her pajamas, and we put on pajamas, and we are just big children with our youth. So we're looking for that. On December the 17th, we will be spreading some holiday cheer to the residents of the Rich Square Nursing Facility right there in Rich Square, North Carolina, where we'll be donating some items to bring holiday cheer to the residents there. Upcoming in February 2026, we will be having a genealogist by the name of Lamar DeLoach. Lamar DeLoach is the older brother of Dr. Raven DeLoach. He's from Northampton County. He is going to be bringing the African American Genealogy 101 session here for anyone that would love to learn how to start doing research. Also, I just want you to know, we are trying very hard to schedule our summer reading for 2026. Our theme this coming year is called Unearth a Story. And we have already booked 6 performers, started with June 10th through July of 2026. And so we're looking for a fun time this year with our summer reading program. And just to let you know, one other thing we have on the horizon, in February, we are thinking about doing a father, daughter, mother, son dance at the library on a Saturday. So we hope that you all will come out and participate and enjoy the festivities at the library. Again, I cannot thank you enough on behalf of Northampton Memorial Library and the Albemarle Regional Library System. Thank you all for your support.
Thank you.
Mr. Gary Brown.
Good evening and season's greetings.
Good evening.
Good evening.
in that spirit, I will be brief. My comments tonight regard a public records request I made back in January, maybe February of this year. Commissioners, when you receive a public records request from me or anyone, I don't expect that you, together or individually, are going to dig through files and find those records. That's the job of your staff, the county manager, your clerk, and others. I do anticipate that you are going to ensure that your staff responds to those requests in a timely fashion. The School of Government says maybe a couple of weeks or so. It has been 10 months. The state of North Carolina, the general statutes, state law, anticipates that same thing. To the best of my knowledge, that's one of the very few specific actions required by law of boards of commissioners throughout the state. The general statutes require that every board of commissioners adopt a code of ethics. And the statutes specifically require only two things that must be in every code of ethics for every board of commissioners throughout the state: adherence to the Open Meetings Law and adherence to the Public Records Act. The general statutes don't require you to dig out those records yourselves, but the statutes do require that you make certain that public record requests are fulfilled by staff, and the statutes hold you, not staff, accountable and liable if that doesn't happen. My previous public records request had to do with the expenses incurred by Northampton County local government, excuse me, to date for the Gaston Water and Wastewater Project. Please provide me the record documents listed on page 2 of this public records request. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Alan Tashima.
Good evening, Commissioners and my fellow taxpayers. Okay, I'm going to start off my comments with three things: fiduciary responsibilities, accountability, and election year. And I have recommended before to the county to hire a contract specialist to review and sign contracts. No one else should be signing contracts except a contract specialist. I'm recommending to the board not to approve the contract until revisions are made for the ClearGov that's going to be coming up for a vote tonight. And the reasons why: this contract, if you are a contract specialist, is called an evergreen contract, since it auto-renews with an agreed-to rate increase every year. This is one of the worst contracts to sign in the industry. The customer loses all control. The contract should be a base POP or period of performance, and then renegotiate the renewals. Benefits the software company, not the customer, which is the county. It also talks about a platform is provided, but it's not clear whether the county, whether it's going to be on a county premise or if it's going to be under the control of ClearGov. From what I got out of this thing is that it looks like ClearGov is going to control the platform plus data and access. They're going to tell the county how many logins they can have, and then also how many they can have. This looks like a cloud instantiation where ClearGlove controls all the software as well as hosting the county data. In each service order under billing terms and conditions, there is a small fine print where the annual rate increase of 3 or 6%, depending upon whether it is in the initial or in the annual periods. That's automatic. It's in there, okay? What is the uptime for the platform? Is it 24/7? I can go a little bit less than that, but when the finance director and the county manager is going to go in there and build a budget, I'm sure it's going to be a lot more than daily. It might be over the weekend. So what is the uptime? The county wants to, what happens if the county wants to end the ClearGov contracts? Do they get back the data that ClearGov uses to generate forms? A lot of times when you submit your data to a cloud provider or another company, unless it's specifically written in there, they own the data. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for it to get it out. And I know that's for a fact because I worked in the federal government, and that's how the federal government pays for their Amazon cloud, Google Cloud, and Oracle Cloud. Okay. The other one that kind of caught my attention was that the county, excuse me, wants you to, oh, I'm sorry, I'm missed the bullet. I went through with this and I just happened to Google ClearGlove competition. And in the space, there are 6 other companies that do this. Was there an AOA or analysis of alternatives made? Was there a specific requirement that ClearGlove could fulfill that the other companies couldn't? So there's a lot of stuff that it almost looked like it was a sole source. Somebody liked it. I understand that there's about 6 or 7 North Carolina counties that use it, but maybe they have different requirements. Don't know. Will ClearGlove be able to address the audit deficiencies which have been noted on previous audits? Okay. Was there a demo ever presented to the county using county data to see if it even addresses the county needs? The way I've looked at all the presentations, it was a Zoom call or something like that. Nobody came down or they didn't do any kind of demo, which actually, if you go on the website, it specifically says request a demo. Is there a help desk? I couldn't see a telephone number for a help desk on the statement of work. Most software companies give you a number to call 24/7 or whoever if you have a problem. Nothing in the contract. Does the contract include software updates,
30
new
seconds.
additions? And they should be free, but it's not specified in the contract. What is the definition of tier/rate as annotated in the service order? Doesn't say anything, okay? So the county received 3 options, 1, 2, and 3. 1 was the most expensive, 2 was less, and 3 was the cheapest. I've never seen any recommendation from the county which one they want to go, at least for you to vote on tonight. And also, I'm just going to assume that if we went to something like this, there should be some savings in manpower. Does the county anticipate
Your
having
time's
any
up.
labor cuts? That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Any others?
No, sir.
Okay. The next item is the community engagement proposal. Okay, I made some copies. Pass this down.
Yes, sir.
This is the version.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And so what you all have, fellow board members, thank you, Chair Martin, is draft 2 of the holiday community proposal. And so after sharing the initial proposal and gathering feedback from fellow board members and also community partners that began to reach out, we had some updates to make to this. And so one update that we made was some of the citizens and stakeholders shared that due to the Christmas holiday being a pretty busy time, and I know just about every Saturday at the Wellness Center is booked pretty much for the remainder of the month, was looking to do a dinner in January or January the 3rd or January the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I put in draft 2. Yeah. And so that might be a better time and to give us more time for planning. And also, we feel that more people may come out to that particular event. Looking at some comps for other counties that had done something similar as far as a community dinner or feeding, 300 to 350 was about the max that they saw come through those lines. We were fortunate enough to communicate with a community partner who's going to be able to solicit some other partners to donate some items, and then they would also cater that. But I would work with administration as also with fellow commissioners. And I want to also acknowledge Commissioner Barton Taylor, who we worked together with that particular community partner. But Commissioner Barton Taylor had to step away from the project, definitely for understandable reasons. And so I did want to assure that we did reach out to that community partner. We are excited about working with them as well. So we're looking at proposing that having, like I said, that holiday dinner or the dinner for the citizens that we talked about, which was a catered meal in early January in lieu of December. We're still proposing to do our turkey giveaways during the month of December. Some other feedback that we got from stakeholders as well was about opening up to the possibility of hams, because sometimes turkeys aren't as easy to be accessible through certain grocery stores or vendors, especially if these items are going to be purchased locally. So we're opening up to it being a turkey or ham giveaway, so citizens could get either or, and it's that same process that we talked about before in the proposal. We will have a series of flyers with each district on it and the townships for each district, so that citizens would know where they can go at to get their particular turkey or ham if they would like to get one. Then we'll also have a centralized giveaway where we'll be partnering with the Department of Social Services. In addition to that, in getting additional feedback and talking with Dr. Edwards, as well as also with Chair Martin, we reached out to our food banks. I want to thank Ms. Ruby Garner for having some conversation with us as well, and looking to allocate some funds to allow them to be able to get some turkeys and hams as well, and then they would distribute those through their regular food bank distribution day, so that we can have a larger reach out to our citizens. We also reached out to a second food bank that works in conjunction with another faith-based organization. They opted for us to possibly revisit presenting this to them at a later time, maybe in the spring around Easter. And they said that way they would give them time to adequately plan. But I did make contact with Ms. Catherine Adams, who also, like I said, was really good about giving us feedback in regards to how we could partner with that food bank. I want to thank Ms. Ruby Garner for giving me that information as well. And also Chair Martin, I spoke with Ms. Kay, I can't think of her last name, Ms. Kay Powell on today, who's in the Lake Gaston community. And so she shared that in lieu of doing the turkeys and the hams, if we could do something around our first responders. And so looking at trying to do some initiatives around that. So whatever we would do for the responders that she presented to us on today, we would also be looking at doing something for the responders that's in this area as well. So that had to be added to the proposal, but that was the feedback that I got when I reached out to the additional contacts, as you all asked me to do. Also, another part of the project was for us to do some initiatives around our nursing and rehabilitation centers, or whatever the case. And so there were 3 that we identified, the only 3 that I'm aware of that's in the county. And so I have made contact with all of those nursing home facilities and looking to partner with them for the care package initiative, which was are part of a proposal that Commissioner Broadnax-Taylor asked that I work with her and take the lead on. And so we are working with those. And as Ms. Purnell just presented, I know that the library, they're going to be going out and doing some things with that as well. If we could possibly partner with that and give out items at the same time, but we're looking at donating some items to those three facilities, as well as doing something for the caregivers as well. And so just operating in transparency, I'll pull up my draft that I have here. And just to do a recap, again, the proposed dates for the holiday dinner would be January the 3rd or January the 10th. In particular range of the budget would be $7,500. Like I said, the vendor that we are partnering with, we've come in at that or below, and so we are happy about that. In regards to the turkey and ham giveaways, we had to get prices not only of what our major industry stores, with their pricings, and also we did what our local stores have as well, so that townships and agencies have the flexibility to purchase from wherever they like. But I wanted to make sure that we got comps that were included in this estimate that was based upon what their price was for turkeys and hams, and so that's where that $1,500 to $2,000 estimate came from in regards to the amount of funds that would be allocated to each township. Also, we were looking at adding an additional an amount for the food bank that we're partnering with. Again, like I said, I reached out to two, and one is only interested in the initiative at this time. So that would be the one that we would, propose allocating those funds to, and they would have the flexibility of purchasing turkeys or hams. And this was feedback, like I said, that I got from the stakeholders and from the food banks, because it says it gives them more flexibility. Long and short of it, as I do a recap, we were looking at roughly about $7,500 in regards to that catered meal for roughly about 350 citizens. Then the total amount for the turkey or ham initiative that we will be doing across the county, and looking at those estimates and comps. And again, this was based upon our local as well as our major industry stores as well. That comes in at roughly around $22,000. The countywide distribution, what we will be partnering with the Department of Social Services, those funds would be roughly around $3,000. And then as far as our project that we're planning with the nursing home, because I'm still awaiting feedback as far as the number of residents, the number of caregivers at each one, we are proposing a possible $4,000 for that. I'm not saying that it would cost that, but again, that is the figure that we will be looking to have, so that we could get the items that we need to donate to those facilities, as well as being able to do something for the caregivers as well. And then as we look near the bottom, I made a note in regards to when we made contact with Ms. Power, and Ms. Power, instead of doing the turkeys and hams, it was proposed that we do something around our first responders and doing something celebratory for them. And then also I included an additional $1,000, which would be the same amount that we would need to allocate for our EMSs here in the county as well. And so roughly you're looking at a range of $37,500 to $38,500. And I think in regards to what we can do and what we need to do for citizens, I mean, I don't even feel that this is a big ask, but I do feel it's something that we need to do, and it's something that we need to be intentional about, and thinking about other initiatives that we want to do on an annual basis. As I talk to citizens, they talked about us planning it early, doing things throughout the year. And so again, all good feedback. And again, this was the proposal, and I incorporated all the feedback that the commissioners asked me to do, as well as embedded in the other projects that weren't in the initial proposal, so that we can be transparent with the citizens. It is my hope that we can post an outline of what the budget outline would look like for this. But again, when you compare this to the needs of our citizens, the needs of our community, we need to do as much as we can while we can to support them. But again, this is just a start, but this is the updates on the proposal.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to proceed on with this proposal?
I move we proceed.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion?
Not a discussion, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Whitaker, Commissioner, Dr. Whitaker, just want to commend you for taking the lead. My goodness,
She's worked hard on this.
absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Just want to
Thank you all.
commendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Broadnex Taylor.
All right, motion is carried. Okay. The next item is the ClearGov proposal.
Good evening, Commissioners, citizens. We have Ryan Nichols with us on tonight, who is going to do a short presentation for two other modules that we want to look at. I was tasked at the last meeting to go back and get with our auditor and CPA to see how they felt about the software. And I did talk with NCACC, Denise Stengel. I talked with Melanie Bryan from the LGC, that's our coach, new coach. And then I talked with Alan Thompson, who is the managing director over at Thompson Price, our auditor. All three endorsed the process. And I said the process, I didn't say the software. That you can't get them to say, all right, well, I want you to go and buy a particular software or product. But for what the software does, they all endorsed it. And I did send you all a couple of the emails, and I just wanted to, before Ryan comes in and does his demonstration of the other two modules, Denise Stengel, she wrote that I checked with the finance officer in Wilson County, and they are pleased with ClearGov. They're expanding to using the SIP. That's the capital improvement plan. That's the module that we also have in here. And they feel good about it as well. That was from Denise. Melanie Bryan from the LGC stated, we are a Munis County, but did our budget detail and balancing within Munis and then prepared our presentation documents outside of the system with some tools developed by our in-house IT folks. So we never had to buy anything like ClearGov, so I can't personally speak to that product. That said, as long as the pricing falls within your budget and you have done your due diligence, like talking with some of the other counties that use the software, I don't see any reason not to go this way. It appears all of the counties below use some version of a Tyler product, just like us, Munis or New World, which means it should interface without issue. You have had some on your staff talk directly with someone. You should have someone talk directly with someone in these counties, which I did, to get some peer feedback. Having that relationship will be invaluable as you move into developing your fiscal 27 budget with new product and have the ability to phone a peer with questions. And then Alan didn't send an email, but I spoke to him this afternoon. He checked with his colleagues and he didn't have a problem with us moving forward with ClearGov. So he went around in the audit firm himself and checked with some of his colleagues. So all of this, again, NCACC, LGC, and our auditors gave us the thumbs up. I didn't hear any, negative feedback, other than, of course, I don't want to say it's negative, but it's anticipated. It takes time. It's a lot of time when you have to put into setting up the accounts in the system itself. And that's expected. I've been involved with a lot of software transition projects over my last 25 years. So that just comes with the territory when you're looking at upgrading softwares, when you're moving from one system to another. But we have Ryan, he's online. He's going to just take us through the last two modules. The other part, I believe Dr. Whitaker did ask, do they have any other modules that we could potentially use? And there was one other module that he brought up, and we looked at that together. He showed me a demonstration of how it works. And some of the demonstrations that I've looked at was not just from ClearGov, it was actual other counties, their data. Their data using this, and again, the idea came from Orange County's budget book, and I was just impressed with the product overall. But I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan, let him do his thing, and we did address the terms. So instead of 1 year, we went with 3 years. It is 3% per year, and if you want to look at the 3%, most companies kind of like I would say like the waste disposal company, they had in their project, we got 5 years fixed pricing, but then after the 5 years, every year, but even within that 5 years, every year they looked at the CPU, the consumer price index, to see if you can set it at 3% or whatever the CPU is, whichever is high or low. I mean, that can be negotiated. So when I looked at that, I didn't see that as anything different from any other type of pricing that I've seen in contracts that I've seen. So we moved from the 1 year to the 3 years, and we did some minor tweaks so that we don't have to fall on the new one of the new GASB pronouncements that's coming out this year. I'm not going to bore you guys with that. That's just a government standard that if you have software, and depending on the terminology in the software agreement, you might have to capitalize the cost over the years of having that software. So we've changed a couple of those things. But I'm gonna turn it over to Ryan and have him to show you the 2 modules that we decided to add on to the existing that you all saw already.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening.
Great. Appreciate you letting me present at your meeting again. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and I will go ahead and share my screen and we'll get underway. Okay. Guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Good deal. All right, so some of this is going to be a little bit redundant, but I'll be very brief because I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So again, I am going to present a couple of the modules, just give another little brief background on ClearGov. We do work with 40 local governments in the state of North Carolina. That is heavily on the civic side, counties and cities. That does include some school districts as well. And nationwide, we do work with over 1,400 local governments. So we are the #1 provider to local governments for budgeting, reporting, and planning. And again, our mission is we create easy-to-use software to help governments budget better. It's pretty simple. And the individuals that help get you up and running are actually former finance directors and budget analysts, and some of them are even ClearGov customers. So I want to just take a moment on this slide. This is our full cycle of budget management modules. So the modules that I am recommending and Julian is recommending for the county are the following. In this budget quadrant, that is your development, we're recommending the operational, capital, and personnel. In a second, I will go with the operational. That is an additional module from last time. Also recommending the budget book, which I went over last time. And we're going to also add in the transparency module. So I wanted everyone to see, all the residents to see, this is the full suite of products. I'm not recommending this time everything, but we are recommending those 5 different modules. And those modules within themselves is a full budgeting suite. At a later time, if the county finds there's need for the audit or tracking capital projects, past completion or strategic planning, just know those are an option. So let's talk about the transparency module. The transparency module is our engagement module. That was actually our first module. That was our initial module. Quick story, our CEO walked in over 10 years ago to his council meeting and he got the idea for ClearGov. He wanted a better way for his community to be able to show their financials so residents would understand, so the council would understand. So this is where it all started with the transparency module. This module will have some overlap with the budget book, but the differences are these. The budget book is a reporting module and it's a deep dive into the budget. The transparency module is designed for someone who wants to very quickly understand what is going on at any time with revenues and expenditures against the budget. So that is the idea behind this module. It's not meant to be a deep dive, but there is some overlap with the budget book with like demographic information. And so just to make this concise, why Northampton needs this? Well, it does help drive community support. By sharing critical facts and figures with citizens, you can foster a climate of trust and understanding that helps drive public support for key initiatives. So here I took a screenshot. Speaking of other counties, I know this is not in your district, but Dare County is also a Munis client that use our transparency platform with other modules as well. And what you can see here, you actually can customize where when a citizen goes onto the transparency site, they actually can enter their home value, and that will allow them to see their contribution across all expenditure categories. So basically what that means, if they want to drill into expenditures, they put their home value in, it'll actually show the per capita, their amount that they are contributing for those line items. And I want to read this quick quote from another county in Missouri. They're very similar size to Northampton and have the same product mix as we are proposing to Northampton. So what Amy Dent said, their treasurer, was, the transparency page is clear to citizens versus trying to make sense of spreadsheets. And she goes on to say in the testimonial, the communication with our taxpayers and citizens is much clearer, and the time my staff puts in during the budget cycle has been reduced by 100 hours over the 3-month process. Now, I want to caveat that is coupled with the other modules as well. So that's not just transparency module, but that is 100 hours with the ClearGov suite that they have saved. So it has increased transparency and it has saved time for staff. Now let's move on to operational budgeting. This module really is the backbone of ClearGov. This module does many things. One, benefits, it is going to give the county for department heads. It is going to be an easier workflow for them to put in their justifications to see past year budget expenditures and approvals, get in and get out to their day jobs, because that's what they want to do. That's what y'all wanted them to do, but they need to be able to an easy way to put in those numbers. And I'm going to read a testimony that speaks to that fact. That is benefit to the department heads, to the county as a whole. With the operational budgeting module, you're going to make it easier using the personnel and capital modules, because if those are like separate spreadsheets, that data in personnel and capital will seamlessly flow into operational, which will be a master spreadsheet. On the reporting side, once you do a budget and operating module, that data will flow seamlessly into the budget book. So again, I want to iterate is that having operational module is the backbone where all data flows in and out of. Without that module, you will require more work because you're going to have to do more import and export in and out of Munis. And just to give a testimonial, or that's just not coming from me as a consultant, this is what this finance director had to say. Before ClearGov, we had a process in place that used our ERP Munis system to enter our budget information. It's a little tedious. It requires the user to navigate multiple screens to enter budget information from each budget line item. And then the finance staff had to create additional schedules and reports for each department to review. So during our department budget meetings, there was a lot more paper involved. He goes on to say in a testimonial, ClearGov is not hard to use. I haven't had anyone that has struggled going in and dropping amounts into the budget, and it does save time. So those are two additional modules that we're proposing, transparency and operational. And then again, for full transparency, I want to go a little deeper with the pricing here because there were some questions that came up last time. So instead of 3 proposals, this is 1 proposal. And these are the breakdowns. The one-time setup investment for all 5 modules is $17,325. Now, that is going to be broken up into 2 payments. You have the budget book, which we're recommending that gets started right away. That pro rata for the annual subscription for Budget Book is $5,688 because it will not be a full year. And the setup fee for the Budget Book is $4,950. Those will both be billed in December. Then come July, you will have your annual subscription for all 5 modules at $36,050. You will have the remainder of the setup fee for the other modules at $12,375. And if you add $12,375 to $4,950, you get a total one time of $17,325. One other thing quick I want to point out with the annual increases, the pro rata does not have an annual increase. And also year 1 on the annual investment will not have an annual increase. The 3% will actually not start until year 2, which will be in 27. So just wanted to be clear on that. You will not incur that on the pro rata, and you will not incur that increase on year 1. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you. I will hang around as long as I need to. But here's my contact information if anyone wishes to reach out to me at any time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ryan. That's all I have.
Anyone have any questions while we still have him on the line? One question that a citizen asked earlier was the data.
So, Chairman, I can speak to that.
Okay.
So on, excuse me, on their proposal, in one section, it hyperlinks their terms and conditions, and that's the boilerplate that I reviewed. It expressly states that the county or the customer's data remains the property of the customer.
All right.
And there are indemnification provisions in place to protect the county in the event the county's data is misused. Now, and sir, you can correct me if I'm wrong, ClearGov's software and intellectual property remains their property, and the county's granted a license, I believe, to access and use ClearGov software. But the county's data remains the county's data.
Yep, that is correct. And also, I think there was a comment too about licensing. So to make it very simple, is we don't do seats with ClearGov. The pricing is based on your budget across all expenditures, and it's based on the modules you choose. So it's for the county to decide internally who has access to the software. It's too complicated trying to do seats, so we just let our customers decide internally who needs to have access. And with that access, they get to decide of what level of access they have. So a department head will not have the same access as Julian would have.
And just as additional FYI, we had enough budgeted for the entire of all these modules, but because of the implementation process, you just couldn't get all of this done in time to have it for the fiscal 26-27 budget. So we really wanted the budget book, so that's how we broke that down. So you're looking at $10,637.50 for fiscal 25-26. And then that annual that he quoted, that will be, and he said July because that's the start of the new fiscal year, which of course we will put this in the budget for next fiscal year as well.
How about help desk information? How about help desk resources? Are you going to be there for us when we screw up some stuff, sir?
Absolutely. And I didn't put that into a presentation for the sake of time, but obviously that is very important. So, and I have to be careful because I'll monologue on our support staff because I've been in sales for over 20 years, and I can say without a doubt is that as wonderful our software is, our best part is the support and training. I've never seen a bunch of people who go over and beyond to make sure that they take care of customers. We have several layers of supports. You do have your own assigned implementation manager, which is like a project manager They hold your hand through the first little while until you get up and running with ClearGov, and then you go to a client success manager, their point of contact for the life of the account. On top of that, you do have support. There is phone support. I believe the hours are, I want to say 9 to 5. It's Eastern Standard Time, so that's very favorable for Northampton County. But there's email support as well. The turnaround time in that is just unbelievable. It is definitely within the day, and usually many times it's within the hour that we turn around and get answers to our customers. Again, I have seen many testimonials forward-facing and many testimonials internal that no one else sees, just between employees of other people just bragging on other employees saying, hey, just good job on getting back to this county in such a time. They were so thankful. They wish that all their customer support was like ClearGov. So yes, you will have the best in class white glove service with ClearGov. And again, if you wanted to reference like Wilson County or Nash County or Dare County or Onslow County or all the other counties that use us, I know without a doubt that they would say the same thing about our support.
And I can back that up. Wilson County manager, he did write that in his email response to me. His finance officer raved about the customer service, and that's a big deal. And we know firsthand, dealing with some software companies, that that is a pain in the neck when you make calls and you don't get responses or answers, or by the way, go online and check the website for our manual. So they basically gave kudos to you all on that.
Mr. Phillips, Mr. Chairman, also, the two additional components, Mr. Phillips, help me with that. The transparency, the one that we just looked at.
Right. Transparency, and then there's the operational.
Right.
The operational, I didn't have that in the first one, and
Right.
because
we looked at, this
I was
is,
trying to save money. I was trying to save money, and I was gonna bring that back next year, after we went through the first phase.
Mhm.
But then, when it was tasked to, hey, look and see what other modules are out there, we went back, and he's right. Yeah, we can do it through Munis, but that's still another process, a manual process of having the department heads go into the system. And you actually have to do the budgets, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. In order to pull your data together, you just don't have it like ClearGov does. You have to go to multiple screens to print out your information. I work with 2 screens, and still that's not enough. You have to download it if you know how to download into Excel to pull all your information together. But ClearGov, you can see everything on one screen. You can basically do a horizontal analysis, so you can see by year, by line item, which is nice. And then you can basically say, hey, if I want 3% increase across the board, you could schedule that in the budget itself, and departments cannot go over the 3% unless you allow it. And it would give them a warning if they do, and they can see it by line item, and they can put in their notes. We can print their notes with the report, or we can leave it blank if we don't want to print the notes. It's just the advantage is just greater. Stuff that we're doing, a lot that I do right now, it's a manual process. You can do all that stuff, but it takes time. And even with doing this now, I still have to do this year manually, but I gladly do it if I know that, we're setting this stuff up, and in future years, we won't have to do that anymore, and we get rid of that manual process. Excel spreadsheets.
Mr. Phillips, could they help you with setting up these accounts? You said something about it takes time to set up accounts. Could they come in and help with setting this up or not?
Well, I don't know if do, I think we have to do the majority of that process. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. We would still,
That would be, if we did that, which we don't offer that, that would be considered professional services and that would be an additional expense to the county. And those professional services are usually very, very expensive. And we have found that that model is really not needed with ClearGov. And it would be a wasted expense to taxpayers and probably would not be utilized. So we give an approach is that we are going to train you very well, and we do. So it's either we can, teach a man to fish or we can give the man a fish. And we do a really good job of teaching our customers how to fish, but we don't leave you on the island either. Like I said, we hold your hand very closely, especially to the first part of ClearGov. And you always have multiple people to go to. But getting the account set up is just as easily as sending us the data and let us doing that work. Again, these are former finance directors. These are people who have had your jobs. Again, and some of them were even ClearGov customers. So it is our utmost, most important thing that we do to make sure that you are happy with our service. So that will not be a problem at all.
and I think the advantage of doing it yourself is you become more familiar with the software. I've done it for Union Camp Corporation. I actually went in there and built a budget spreadsheet for them. They were doing manual stuff before I got there, and I actually used their software and built a budget package for them. And by doing it, I actually learned the process of what it takes to make paper faster than, sitting down there listening to someone go through the process. And then if you have problems, you built it, so you know how to, go back and look for, the fix.
When you said extra expense to our county, he'll be doing it on his own. Thank you.
Amen.
Just give him the
I have
pole.
some help. I have some volunteers.
Yeah, just give him the pole. He can do it.
So if I understood you correctly, it's only 10,637 this first year, and then the other modules would come on. later.
That's correct. And we did have someone that asked about savings. I spoke on that the last time. We did have over $195,000 in labor savings that we saved in this year's budget. So we don't have to go and look to cut any additional positions.
Board, any other questions? What is the wishes of the board? You have a motion to adopt this or one of the other proposals, or?
I guess to the board, so break this down for me one more time, Mr. Phillips. So the additional 2 items requested, if, Ryan, can you break that down again and that cost? Because, is that Ryan, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah, let me back up my screen here.
That screen, yeah, we have that on paper. We got-
Right, I was just going back through, and then tonight I'm hearing 2 additionals.
So you want the you want me to give you the cost with the additional modules or what we had looked at prior?
No, no, not prior, the additional modules, Ryan, thank you.
Yeah, we have copies of the.
Okay, so its total investment for all 5 modules is annually $36,050 annually. And you have a one-time, I want to be very clear, this is a one-time total setup service of 17,325. So you'll pay that in 2 payments because of the way we're splitting the agreement, but total it's 17,325. And then after year 1, you won't see that setup fee again. The only time you would ever see a setup fee again is if you added additional modules at a later date. But let's just pretend that you don't do that, then you won't see another setup fee. You would just have the annual subscription.
What was that, you were breaking that 17 into 2 parts. What was the initial part of that for the smaller setup? I believe it was 4,000.
4,950.
4950.
So that would be, the next one would be 12.
So I guess for me, Mr. Chairman, when you look at, and I'm gonna go back to what was, so the additional stuff was not included in the packet. About this tonight. So my brain is one way, but then I'm getting hit with other figures tonight. We had this information since last meeting, but not the figures of adding on 2 additional items. And we've been meeting with the different mayors about the things we have going on in the county. But I just don't, when we get our budget books, if we could have all that information so that we could take a aerial view of it and not get an impromptu version the night of our meetings. And this is going back when we talk about 2 meetings. I'm not sure. Because now I'm hearing we're adding on 2 more things.
Could we approve the option 3 tonight, which is all we're gonna implement the first year, and then revisit the other as we have more time to investigate it more? Because like I say, this, we've had a couple of weeks to look at, but then we got these new things just tonight. Because my understanding is that's all we're gonna implement this first year anyway.
That's correct.
The budget book and the setup for that. How would that?
So what are you saying, Mr. Chairman? We talk about approving what we discussed last month only, minus the 2 additional items we were presented with this evening?
Well, we could do any of those versions, but since we're only implementing the, we call it the budget book platform in this first initial year anyway, would that be the wish of the board to approve that tonight? And it gives us more time to look at the other modules. If you go to your option 3 page,
Yes, sir.
that 4950, 5688 is the 10,000. That's all we'd be paying this year anyway. And then we
True.
could look at what combination of additional modules we want to look at in the future.
Option 3 would give us an opportunity to try so we could see how we like the rest of the modules.
Like I say, that's all we were gonna actually implement this first year anyway with that. What's the wishes of the board in along those lines? Is that what we would prefer to do? Does anyone want to make a motion? Yeah. I would suggest we go with option 3 and we can add to it sometime in the next few months as we have more time to look into the information about the other options. Maybe within a month even, but yeah.
I would just like to see all the information that we're going to be presented as we candidly discuss, when we were talking about having meetings, not hearing something for the first time. That's the purpose of the board books. So I feel like when we get our booklets, this is what we're looking at, not to get additions the night of the meeting.
So is there a deadline for?
That's a good question.
For the budget book tonight, the budget book, the portion that's going to be used for this fiscal year, we need to have that.
Yeah, to get started on the budget. But the
Which
rest,
is information we got the last month.
yeah, we had that already. That's.
Right.
Yeah,
I just want to be clear.
right.
Okay.
So we could opt to go with option 3 tonight, and then we can decide on other options as we get the information and have more time to study it. Is that the wishes of the board? If so, do I have a motion?
Okay, I make a motion that we move forward with option 3.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I, Ron X. Taylor.
Any opposed?
No.
All right, well, motion is carried. We'll go with option 3 and revisit other options in the future. All right, the next item is the Health Department matters.
Good evening, Commissioners
Good
and
evening.
fellow citizens. I come to you tonight with some appointments and reappointments for our Board of Health that are expiring. We have 2 members that have resigned, and their term will end December 31st of this year. In those the disciplines that they were is the registered nurse position, and we do have 1 applicant that we received, and you should have that application in your book, for Miss Jessica Newsom, who is an RN, and the other is Dr. William Futrell, who has resigned, and he was a public member position, but it was in the place of the optometrist position because we've never had an optometrist on our Board of Health. And that is the only position in general statutes that you can seek from out of county excuse me, so you will see the one application that you have in your book is from Dr. Matthew S. Edwards, who actually resides in Hertford County. But those are the two applications that I bring to be effective for their term starting January the 1st.
Anyone have any questions about these two applicants?
Move approval, Mr.
Okay, got a motion to approve them. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. Okay, motion is carried.
Okay. The next item is for just reappointments for those members that can serve another 3-year term in their consecutive 3-year terms. And those members are Christy Berry, Dr. Nicole Howell, Dr. Jordan White, Ruth Moody, and Ben Moses for their reappointments that would also become effective January 1 of 2026.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve these reappointments?
Make a motion, go ahead.
Second,
Second.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Broadnax Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried.
That's
Appointments
it.
are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is Halifax Northampton Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Chris Collier is not here tonight due to he ran into some traffic, I believe. So I guess I will read this. This is from Chris Collier. I would like to take a few minutes to make you aware that Northampton County Emergency Management is in the process of updating our Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, which we share with Halifax County. This update occurs every 5 years and is a requirement under the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. The purpose of this plan is to identify potential natural and human-caused hazards that could affect our county, such as hurricanes, flooding, severe storms, extreme heat, dam or levee failure, winter weather, and with the intent to develop long-term strategies to reduce their impacts. Having an approved and up-to-date hazard mitigation plan is extremely important for several reasons. One is eligibility for FEMA funding. The county and our municipalities must have an approved plan in order to qualify for federal disaster mitigation grants and certain types of post-disaster assistance. Two is risk reduction. The plan helps us identify vulnerabilities in our communities and guides actions to reduce loss of life and property before disasters occur rather than reacting after the fact. Three, community resilience. It strengthens our ability to recover faster and smarter when disasters strike. Four is collaboration and coordination. It brings together county departments, municipalities, emergency services, public works, and the public to ensure we are all working toward the same goals. Five is cost savings. Every dollar spent on mitigation saves multiple dollars in future response and recovery costs. This update process will involve reviewing our previous plan, assessing current risk, updating data and mapping, engaging with local jurisdictions and community stakeholders. Once completed, the plan will need to be adopted by both counties and all participating municipalities. By keeping this plan current, Northampton County ensures that we remain eligible for critical federal funding, that we continue to take proactive steps to protect our residents, our infrastructure, and local economy from the effects of disasters. This process will take several months to complete, and with a projected date of completion of May of 2026. Northampton County Emergency Management is currently working with FEMA and North Carolina Emergency Management to complete this update. Thank you for your time and continued support as we work to keep our community safe, resilient, and well prepared for the future. And he asked, are there any questions? But since he's not here, I guess we won't have questions. But he just wanted to bring that to our attention, that they are working on that to keep us eligible for various fundings, and also to make sure our plan is up to date to protect the citizens of the community and the county. I know I went at the county commissioners, conference we had back in the summer. I sat in on the emergency management briefing, which was led by a lot of the people that were from the disasters in the mountains from all the flooding, back last year. And it was very interesting to hear their tales and learned a lot about things you don't think about when you have to respond to something like that. And so it's very important that we have these plans in place when disasters do happen. All right, the next item on the agenda is economic development matters. No items? Okay. All right. Tax Department.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Bring you greetings from the Northampton County Tax Department. Have several items to bring before you this evening. The first one is to obtain the board's approval on 12 ad valorem tax appeals in the amount of $2,340.36. And these are all action items.
Right.
The next item I bring before you this evening is 13 motor vehicle refunds and appeals in the amount of $652.06. The next item I bring before you is a late application for property tax relief. That information is in your pack. The next item I bring before you is a resolution authorizing upset bid procedures for sale of property owned by Northampton County.
Okay.
The last thing I bring before you this evening is a resolution for the board to adopt the 2026 listing extension dates. Included with that is the advertisement that will go in the newspaper. Any questions?
Okay. All right, the first one, the ad valorem tax appeals for $23.40.36. Do we have a motion to approve that?
Make a motion that we approve the ad valorem tax appeals in the amount of $2,340.36.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. Okay, motion is carried. All right, the motor vehicle tax appeals in the amount of $652.06. Do we have a motion to approve those?
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the motor vehicle tax appeals.
Do you have a second?
No second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. All right, motion is carried. They're approved. All right, the late application for Patricia Deans. Does anyone have any questions in regard to that? She's applying for the old age disability exclusion. She was late applying. Her note says she'd been in and out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So, do we have a motion to approve that?
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I, Brian X. Taylor.
Motion is carried. Okay, we have a resolution authorizing upset bid procedure for sale of property in Rich Square Township. We have a motion to approve that.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
We have a second. Did anyone second that?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? None opposed? Okay, motion is carried. All right, the resolution for the extension listing dates, is that in our package? Did you find it? I thought I saw it, and I can't. Oh, that's right, that was that. That separate sheet. Yeah, okay. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the resolution.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Commissioners, if y'all would just indulge me for 1 second. Ms. Mason, if you would
Would you
come
come back up? I almost forgot about that.
I have a certificate. And I believe I mentioned this before, but I don't know if we did it publicly. But I have a certificate here from the North Carolina Department of Revenue. And it says here that the North Carolina Department of Revenue hereby certifies that Jamie Mason has successfully completed the requirements of the North Carolina General Statutes for certification of county assessor. It was awarded to her on the 16th day of July, 2025. And I just wanted her to, be able to be recognized in front of all of you on today.
All right. The next item is financial matters.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, I have before you Budget Amendment number 4. There are several items. The first item is for DSS. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services allocated additional funds to Northampton County for emergency placement for foster children in the amount of $10,066. This is to add those funds to the budget. Our Aging Department received a Monarch grant in 25-26 for $1,786. And then an additional amount of $6,016 we are moving from fund balance appropriated, which is the Monarch grant that was received in last fiscal year that was not spent, and that is restricted specific for this grant purpose. The Sheriff's Department, the first line is the $8,714. That is for 4 insurance payments for damage to county vehicles. The next item is for $35,041. This is for insurance funds received right at the end of last fiscal year. They did not have time to get those vehicles repaired before the end of the fiscal year, so we are moving those funds forward to pay for those repairs. The next amount is for $47,977, and that is for drug tax funds received from the state and that are set aside by North Carolina General Statute. We are moving those restricted funds forward to the current year. And then $30,426 are grant funds remaining that we received in a prior year from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety. And we are moving those forward so they can spend out the remainder of those grant funds.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Edwards? If not, could I get a motion to approve this budget amendment?
Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the budget amendment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. None opposed, motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we are to county manager and board comments. County manager?
I don't have any additional comments except that the annual Christmas bonus will be paid out on this next, on the 15th. And we pay out $200 to each full-time and permanent part-time employee on record as of December 1st.
Okay,
That's all I have for tonight. Thanks for coming out.
all right, thank you. All right, we'll go to our board comments. We'll start, am I right, Ms. Whitaker?
All right, let's say good evening to everyone, and I hope everyone had a safe and wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Not gonna be before you long, just want to share that we have been excited about the various invites that are going out across the county. Had opportunity to participate in Conway's parade. Also want to acknowledge and recognize Christmas on the Square that took place in Rich Square. I was unable to attend that event due to a family member of mine, my younger cousin, that had taken sick, and so my mom and I had to go and be with the family. But it was an awesome event from what I've somewhat was shared, and definitely want to give a highlight to that. And also giving an acknowledgement to Rich Square. I'll be serving as their grand marshal for their parade that'll be taking place on this Saturday, so I'm excited about that. And then also we'll be participating in the Gaston festivities that are taking place on Friday evening. So again, a lot of wonderful things going on around the county. Just want to thank our citizens for all that you do, as well as our staff. And if I don't see any of you all, I hope you all have a wonderful remainder of the month and a safe holiday.
Mr. Evans?
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you again for coming out. We always appreciate the inputs we have from our citizens. So we do look forward to those comments. We look forward to seeing our staff in Northampton doing a really good job. Thank you for all that you do, and have a safe trip home. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Braun X. Taylor?
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I'd like to especially thank the Northampton County Board of Commissioners for jumping on board with safety in Northampton County. They not only just walked the walk or talked the talk. When I had the incident happen to me, it's been almost 2 weeks, they jumped on board. They have been meeting with the mayors of the different municipalities, and it's been boots on the ground. So I like to personally thank my colleagues for jumping on board with safety. And they've been doing a fantastic job. We got another meeting coming up on December 4th, I do believe, where they meet with the mayors, the sheriff, EMS, everybody, about the safety conditions in Northampton County, and I'm very, very grateful to them. Second thing, also, I have a webinar with the New Rule Project, Urgent Conversations on Public Safety, December the 9th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And they're going to be talking about public safety. And I'm very excited about that. So anything that's out there about public safety, I've somewhat bonded myself to them. And lastly, there's also a webinar concerning unit assistance training, and our board members will be involved in that as well. So if I don't see any of you all, and I probably will, because I try to be here, there, and everywhere, but I will see you. Have a great Christmas, and thank you for always supporting our board.
Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say good evening to everyone. And as we approach this holiday season, it did have the opportunity to meet with Gaston Mayor and Town Commissioner as we focus on safety, and looking forward to the meeting this Thursday on December the 4th. Had opportunity to go to the beam raising ceremony. Fellow commissioners, we attended. As you know, there's a new high school being built right here in Jackson, North Carolina. And we got to participate with the Board of Education in the beam raising ceremony. And the project is on schedule to open between August and September for the new high school. Also, when you, optic fiber, if you see those white trucks, something that's been coming around for a long time in Northampton County, some fiber optic for some high-speed internet is finally coming to Northampton County, and we're so looking forward to seeing that. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday, and if I don't see you, Happy New Year to everyone.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and any of those that are more local to Jackson, or anybody's welcome to come. We have this Friday our tree lighting and carriage rides and at the courthouse, the historic courthouse. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock, but they have a few snacks out there, and Santa Claus comes for the kids. It's usually a pretty fun time. Also, I had the opportunity, NC Carr invited the commissioners for a ride-along at the Extreme Experience a week ago Saturday. They had high-performance cars come out to the NC Carr track, and you could ride along with them. I rode in a Ferrari. It was very, very interesting. It's fun. They go fast. And but they gave you a little recording, so I have a recording of me riding in the car. It shows the track from your perspective, you sitting in the car, and an overview of the track to tell you where you're at all times on the track. But it was very interesting, and I enjoyed it.
And Chairman, I want to share that I had an opportunity to participate as well, and it was, like I said, it was definitely a new and exciting experience, so I appreciate that invite. Never rode 150 miles per hour before in my life, but yeah, that I also rode in a Ferrari as well, but yeah, it was awesome experience.
It was interesting.
It was.
And
I apologize, I couldn't be there, I was sick. But I was invited to bring my car, and that was so disappointing that I couldn't get on the track. I'm going back.
But yeah, it was quite an experience. But thank you all for coming tonight, and drive safely, and don't drive 150. Now I believe we need to go into a closed session.
Yes, sir. Will we go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A for economic development?
Do I have a second?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi, Brian X. Taylor.
Aye. Motion is carried. We'll now go into closed session. Thank you for coming.